Mexico's rate decision is looming, but with the jury still out regarding a September 17th hike in the US, could the Banco de Mexico pull the trigger before the Fed? Carlos Capistrán joins me down the line from Mexico City to discuss this and more. Carlos, while Mexico has seen a slowing of economic growth, its FDI performance has been steadier than Brazil, for example. Analysts say it's manufacturing which sets Mexico apart from some LATAM peers. Now, shortly we will see the country's PMI number. Are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic about the country, yes, and I'm optimistic in particular precisely for the reasons that you described, which is Mexico is more a manufacturing country than a commodity exporter. And we have seen that there's a difference in the resilience these two kind of countries have shown in recent days. So manufacturing countries have fared much better than commodity exporters. So Mexico is still a little bit of a commodity exporter because of oil, but mostly is a manufacturing country exporting manufacturers to the U.S.
The country has been experiencing the effects of exposure to weakness in global oil markets. But since those reforms which saw Mexico open their oil markets for the first time in 77 years, the relationship has changed somewhat. To your mind, has this been a burden or a boost for the economy?
Well, Mexico has a very complex relation with oils. As a result of this energy reform, people were expecting a lot of FDI into Mexico, with all these private firms exploring and exploiting vast hydrocarbons resources in Mexico, including shale oil and deep water oil, among other things. But of course, when oil prices go down, it's more difficult for companies to invest in these resources. As a result, the FDI expected into Mexico is not the same as it was before. So we're expecting less inflows, almost half of the inflows that we expected right after the energy reform was approved. And therefore, this means that the currency has to suffer as a result. So I suspect that it is this channel, the one that is at work whenever oil prices go down, and that's why the relation with the currency remains the same as before, which is whenever oil prices go down, the currency depreciates.
Governor Carson's acknowledged concern regarding the peso, but said he doesn't want to depend exclusively on foreign exchange interventions. He admitted there will probably be room for monetary policy action at some point, but said we will have to find the right moment. So what might this right moment look like in terms of economics, and what is your outlook for the MXN?
Well, precisely all this complex relation with oil and Mexico being an emerging market makes the job of the Central Bank of Mexico a difficult one at this time. You ask me what is the right time? The right time is waiting a few months until the economy is in better footing and then start your hiking cycle once the Fed has starting their own hiking cycle, so that this allows the exchange rate to remain relatively depreciated, and that this helps the exports, and this in turn helps the economy. Now, the central bank and some hawkish members of the board may think differently. They may think that the appropriate time is September, even if the Fed doesn't hike, just to try to support the currency in terms of preventing outflows, particularly from foreigners, because remember that around 35% of local debt is in the hands of foreigners, and in some particular instruments, such as M-bonos, the proportion can be as high as 60%. So this is a concern from the central bank, and they may decide to hike rates just to try to prevent outflows and in that way support the currency.
Carlos, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for your time. Well, today has indeed been PMI Day. Sam Meredith brought us the latest news from Europe, while Louise McCauley discussed China's miss in our press review. So why not check those out on Dukascopy TV. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.